What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you are having a great start to your morning. I'm going to get to the point throughout the next several days where I'm going to double up my videos. I'm going to try to do one in the morning and try to do one in the evening because it really is looking like an increasing concern that there is going to be a threat for a potential tropical cyclone here in the Gulf of Mexico that could affect the lower 48, really talking about the Gulf states as we get into early next week. So it's important to try to keep people aware. There's a lot of outlets to do that, and there's a lot of ways for others to do it, but I'm trying to do my part in this and keep you all aware because it does look like, I know that over the last couple of days, Texas looked like the big threat, but this is going to wiggle back and forth. But there is insane agreements as far as operational runs through all the four models I'm about to show y'all as far as where this is going to go. As of now, this is going to change. I want to mention that a bunch of times. So in the morning videos, I'm going to try to talk about what the overnight runs and the morning runs look like. And then at the evening videos, I'm going to really break down what is driving this particular scenario, which is 99L, Invest 99L, which will likely either be Ida or Julian. And I'm starting to think this is going to be Ida, as looks like guidance has trended a little bit lower for the one way out in the North Atlantic that had the potential to be a strong hurricane and interact with the jet. But this is looking like this is going to be Ida by the weekend, and this is a growing concern that this is going to threaten the U.S. for sure. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button, like the video if you do. And like I said, if you want a more in-depth breakdown of what's driving this, the steering currents, as far as what's the strength of it, please watch the evening video from last night, or either stay tuned tonight and I got you an update talking about all the driving factors that's really driving this potential tropical storm, then hurricane here in the next several days. So let's get going here. So this is it. This is the tropical wave right here, just off North-South America, if you will, in the Caribbean. This will continue to get going here. It's interacting with something called a CAG, which is Central American Gyre. This can really get going here, and we're going to talk about why tonight, but we're going to go over the model runs right now, so stick with me with this. So the latest model runs is the latest update per the 2 a.m. update. This will update at 8 a.m. again, and this will probably go to maybe an 80% chance to develop. This might drop to a 60% chance. I think this is going to develop, but even if it does, it's not going to affect the U.S. And this just really doesn't even, if it does develop, this will go out to sea anyways. It's not really a big topic. This is the one we're going to focus on over the next several days because this has some threatening scenarios to it for sure. So let's take a look at the latest GFS, which is the one that just came in this morning, the operational run. Now, I want to mention, like I do on all my videos, when you look at these runs, do not take them as gold like they're going to happen. These change from run to run. So I just run over all the guidance that I see. I break it down for you guys. And then I look at the ensembles, which is something you really need to look at in any kind of medium to long-term range. We can gather a lot off operational runs because we can see trends, but sometimes the operational runs can show the most extreme scenario in the ensembles, so it's not always reliable. But there is there is big time agreement right now in the ops right now, which is operational runs. So here we go. This is the latest GFS. This is one particular model. It's a pretty reliable model. Notice this tropical system is trending north just outside the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba. The piece of energy is trending north, which means, a few days ago, it was wanting to develop this system down here as early as Friday and Saturday. Now it's developing it more east or more northeast, which means it's not going to interact with land as much, which means it can get stronger in the short term, which ultimately means you're going to have a stronger storm entering the Gulf of Mexico. And once you get into the Gulf of Mexico, it's like bath water. You have basically all the ingredients in place just about to really support a major hurricane. And like I said, please stay tuned for tonight's video. We're going to break down what goes into this scenario of it being an impactful hurricane here in the lower 48. So stay tuned tonight. There's about 4 or 5 different things that play into all this. So stay tuned for sure. So here we go. This gets into the Gulf of Mexico as early as Saturday evening, and then it starts heading northwest, and at some point may head north. We just don't know. But this is what the latest GFS shows. strengthens this into this is getting close to a Category 3 hurricane, probably high in Category 2, and it's heading in the same place where Hurricane Laura, Hurricane Beta impacted Louisiana. And it's strengthening, it continues to strengthen upon landfall, and as we get into Tuesday morning, this is next Tuesday morning obviously, and then Tuesday evening, the scary thing that this is showing is it's slowing down. Now, this isn't the exact scenario, but it really has it slowing down at this point, and then makes landfall as you get into Tuesday morning into Louisiana, kind of where maybe a little bit more east of where Laura makes landfall. But it doesn't matter. This is going to tick all over the place. But, you know, for people in Texas watching, and notice this thing was plowing into southern areas of Texas a couple days ago. Now it's trended east of y'all. So we're going to keep trending. You look at the latest GFS Ensembles. You take a look at this right here. Here's the signal popping up right here as early as tomorrow evening. System could develop as early as Saturday morning into maybe Tropical Storm Ida. Then this moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And check out how deep the members go, as far as deep as in millibar strength. The lower millibar storm, the stronger the storm is, whether it's a hurricane or tropical storm. This is a strong signal plowing right into either Texas, Louisiana, and heck, it might even trend to Mississippi or Alabama before we're all done with. But this is a large signal for a landfalling tropical cyclone as we get into the early part of next week. Now, there's a lot of things we have to work out. I don't know the exact answers. Nobody does. But timing is off. Obviously, it is, because this is still kind of in the medium term and the strength of the storm. But this is a big-time scenario. And like I said, I'll break that down tonight, where we could have rapid intensification in the Gulf of Mexico. If this thing makes it here in the short and the medium term and gets into the Gulf of Mexico, there's nothing stopping this becoming a major hurricane. There really isn't. But we'll look at the latest Euro. The Euro keeps the energy from interacting with either piece of land, Cuba or the Yucatan. There's a lot of factors here driving this. There's a ridge of high pressure here. There's an upper level low that could actually is a weakness in the atmosphere that could steer and pull whatever this is more northeast. You know, there's a lot of scenarios here, but the Euro, same scenario, doesn't have it near as strong as the GFS, but still has a Category 1 hurricane, strengthening upon landfall, making landfall right around where Beta and Laura made landfall here in the border of Texas and Louisiana. And you look at the ensembles for the European model right here, very strong signal, and it is ticked more east up the coast, or more, depending on how you view it geographically, it is ticked more north or northwest or northeast. Basically, it's ticked more of the eastern Gulf Coast into Louisiana. But there is still a ton of members plowing into Texas, but there's a lot less members going into Mexico. So you look at the latest icon, which, you know, isn't a very respected model altogether, but it's still model guidance, especially at this range. Icon does the same thing, slides this piece of energy, whether this is a tropical storm at this point, Saturday morning between the Yucatan Peninsula right here and Cuba, western areas of Cuba, and gets into the Gulf of Mexico, and there is just ripe conditions for explosive development. And this actually only goes out to 120 hours out, but we get into the wee hours of the morning Monday, and this is eyeballing the same area the GFS and the European is eyeballing as a Category 2 hurricane at this point, but it still has time to strengthen as it's still over water. So if you're in Texas still, if you're in Louisiana, heck, if you're in Mississippi, anywhere along the Gulf Coast, you need to keep your eye on this. But model guidance is trending a little bit more east, down the eastern sides of the Gulf of Mexico. So the Gulf Coast is what I'm meaning. So you look at the CMC, this is the Canadian model, same thing, very intense. It's actually got it way east initially. It actually has it making landfall in the western areas of Cuba, which means it gets into more of the central area of the Gulf of Mexico, begins to strengthen, but ultimately kind of rides more west-northwest and kind of hits Louisiana at a different angle, but still ends up at the same around area than the last three models we just discussed, which is Louisiana, right around where Hurricane Laura Beta made landfall. we got to watch this, guys. I'm going to have a more extensive breakdown of this overnight, but briefly, I'll kind of give you a sum up of what we're going to discuss tonight. Is these are what you call vortexes, vortices, whatever, pieces of energy. And in the short to medium term, meeting between now and about Friday to Saturday, you're going to have a piece of energy right here. The thing about this piece of energy is this is where the tropical origin is going to develop. This is where it's going to consolidate and really become one and ultimately become the tropical system as early as Friday and Saturday. You go back to maybe 4 runs prior to this. So I'm going to go back it up, back it here, back it here. So this is basically the run from around this time yesterday. Notice these pieces of energy are more south, which has it ultimately running into the Yucatan Peninsula, Central America, or Mexico, and ultimately interacting with land a whole lot more. So in this scenario, you would have a weaker storm that probably gets dragged a little bit more south, and it's just not as organized by the time it gets in the Gulf of Mexico. In the latest trends, you have a more organized. Now I know you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, that doesn't look any more impressive. It just looks more northeast. Well, the thing is you have one piece of energy, and what's going on here is it's not interacting with land. It's more north, which means in the short and the medium term, it's not going to have anything really disturbing it as much. So it's going to already kind of be somewhat healthy of a tropical cyclone getting into the Gulf of Mexico. So this is something we need to watch, guys, for real. If you're in the Gulf, anybody just in the Gulf needs to watch this for sure. So that's all I got. More extensive breakdown tonight. I'm going to keep trying to do this all the way up until I can't. I do plan on chasing this if it works out. Remember, I am a storm chaser, so I don't just sit behind the screen and just talk weather. I love being in it too, and trying to help out the professionals like the National Weather Service, trying to get information to them. I love doing that and trying to help, and just being and having the experience also of just being in what I love, which is the weather. So stay safe out there. Just make sure you have a plan together if you're in Texas, Louisiana. We'll discuss this deeper tonight. Y'all have a blessed day and stay safe out there.